Here we go. Episode 39 of the Hardline Sports Talk. I am Michael Merlo. Along with me, I have John Michael Masiri. JM, how are we doing on this fine Monday night?
Awful. Couldn't have more things not going my way right now. I just lost in a fantasy football comeback. Mark Andrews put up a 30 spot against me, and I lost by 4. I just watched the Red Sox advance the LCS, and it's looking like it might be Red Sox Astros, my least two favorite teams in the MLB. And yeah, I'm not in the best of mood. I just told you my story about my laptop situation with my school. Yeah. So yeah, things ain't been going my way today. But how are you?
Pretty good. If I lose in fantasy right now because Jonathan Taylor is a Monday Night Miracle, I'll probably be in a worse mood. But as of right now, I'm in a pretty good mood. I'm loving the baseball. It's been great. Mm-hmm. If you just ignore the football in this town, you're A-okay. I mean, you're
fine.
So that's what I'm kind of been trying to do. And we're going to get to that in a little bit, unfortunately. We are going to start with some baseball, though, because that is just rocking and rolling. Like you said, the Red Sox just upset the Tampa Bay Rays. They advanced to the ALCS, beating the Rays 6-5 tonight. And they win in 4 games. They won 3 straight. I'm shocked. Like, I am genuinely shocked that the Boston Red Sox beat the Tampa Bay Rays.
Me too. I thought there was a serious chance that the Rays were going to sweep this series.
So did I.
And I think we saw that this Rays team is a lot more flawed than we thought, because when we think about the Rays and we think about, the way they play the money ball and use the analytics and everything, we think about their pitching, and the pitching was terrible. And listen, the Red Sox have a good offense, but
I saw what you were about to say there.
The pitching, what?
Looked like you were going to go say dog, bleep, and then you didn't.
No. And the Red Sox, they have a good offense, but the pitching was awful for the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, Mark Andrews just scored another touchdown just to add insult to injury. Anyways,
he's on another fantasy team.
Yeah, the pitching was god awful. The starting pitching, especially. I mean, you had Shane Baz didn't pitch well. McClanahan pitched well in game 1, but he came in relief in this game and just was throwing batting practice. I mean, straight up batting practice.
Kid, McClanahan looked great.
He did
in that game 1. The game 1 series, the game 1 of the series, his stuff was moving. His fastball had life. I was like, wow, this kid's good. And I had heard about him. I heard he was a hard throwing lefty. I never really watched him. And then, he didn't have it toward the end here.
Just he literally, it was like they were hitting off the tee at one point. And I have to question Kevin Cash a little bit, because I wasn't crazy about how he managed this series. And I know that's kind of the style they play, where they don't really ride guys out. They don't really ride guys out, multiple innings. And, they took out Colin McHugh after 2 innings.
Oh, please.
They want him to go through the lineup twice.
I mean, come on, man.
What a game. And he left McClanahan out there too long, in my opinion. Even the Randy Arozarena pinch run late in the game in the 8th inning, that was a little suspect to me, because it was a tie game at that point, and Randy Arozarena is a fast player. He's not he's no slowpoke, but they had a faster option on the bench.
Who's he trying to outsmart?
It ended up that they didn't score. And what happens if that game goes into extras and Randy Arozarena is supposed to be up, and instead you have someone off your bench? So yeah, the Rays I really thought they were going to go to the World Series this year. I thought they had a very legit shot at winning it. And now we'll see where they go from here.
This really reminds me of when the A's lost, in Moneyball. Yeah. When the A's lost after the 20-game winning streak, and the Rays didn't have a winning streak like that. But it's crazy. I'm shocked. I didn't think Boston had it. I had said I thought whoever won the wild card game was going to lose to Tampa Bay in 3 or 4 games, and Tampa Bay losing in 4 games. That play on Sunday night was insane with Kevin Kiermaier. He hit the double off the wall that ended up bouncing and then hitting Hunter Renfroe, going back over the wall. That was pretty crazy. That ended up possibly costing them a run. The Tampa Bay Rays, they lost it in the 9th, in the bottom of the 13th, so it didn't matter. But It was a wacky series.
I have a proposal for that because there was a lot of uproar about that ruling and everything, and people.
I have a proposal too. You go first.
Okay, so first of all, I'm not even considering the fact that should have been a home run. I saw people saying that should be a home run. No, it shouldn't be a home run. It hit the wall and then it hit the ground. So why should it be a home run?
Water bottle.
You know how when there's a throwing error and it goes into the stands, they decide, they judge how many bases to give the runner based on where they're at in the base path.
Usually it's one, but yeah.
With ground rule doubles, why can't it be the same way? I mean, it was Kiermaier, right? Rounding third base?
No, it was Yandy Diaz rounding third base. Kiermaier hit the double.
Kiermaier hit it, right.
Third.
Yandy Diaz was easily going to score on that play. Right. But because of the ground rule double, they ended up getting screwed and he didn't score. So my proposal to that would be do the same thing you do, like I just said, use your judgment. Is the guy clearly going to score or not? And then award them the run.
That'll never work.
Why not?
There's too much judge. You want to put a judgment call into the umpire's hands.
Yes,
again.
agreed.
It's way too hard.
In a situation where it's that clear, there needs to be something. I mean, come on. What's your proposal?
Stop crying about the rule. It happened, and that's it. I thought you were gonna say like, oh, in that ballpark, they need a rule for what happened. Like that play happens once in 90 years.
To do in that ballpark, they need to place TNT throughout the entire field and blow it up. Because I don't care
Fenway Park.
Oh, it's so old and the nostalgia and the baseball history. Yes, it's very cool. The
greatest thing ever.
The dimensions of that park are so stupid, and it's so annoying to watch a game there.
I think it's great.
I hate it. I hate it so much. And I don't.
You're one of those people that.
What?
Are you one of those people that believe that every ballpark should be the same dimensions? And
no, not necessarily. I like the way parks are unique and it's different to every sport, but I'd at least like some sort of pattern in the Red Sox stadium, not like a 2-year-old just takes a crayon and scribbles a bunch and that's how you decide.
All right, ready? This is what we'll do. I'll give you a proposal.
They had to be on like acid when they drew out that stadium. Anyways, what?
We'll fix right field and left field as long as you push the fences back like 10, 20 feet. Yankee Stadium. Is that a deal? Yeah,
sure. Deal? Yeah.
Really? You do that deal? No, you wouldn't.
I mean, I don't care. It's kind of annoying with the Yankee Stadium, like having to just deal with all the BS where people like to cry. But if Fernando
it affects your team positively.
But if Fernando Tatis hits a 325-foot home run at Petco Park, which is also like the second shortest right field in baseball, they'll post them everywhere on social media and people will call him the GOAT, but whatever.
Yeah, they're a dumpster fire.
All right, I need to talk about with this Red Sox Rays game. And obviously we've only been talking about the Rays really, but the Red Sox, yes, it is very impressive that they
feel it feels like a different vibe. If it almost feels like the 2018 vibe where like this team for some reason, I don't know if it's the manager.
And this is why
they're like special. They're a special group.
And this is why I think the whole thing about there's a certain formula to win in the playoffs and everything is such BS because the Red Sox just mashed their way through this series. Like, let's stop acting like starting pitching. You need starting pitching. Look at the Brewers. The Brewers have given up 6 runs in this series, and they're down 2-1. They've played 3 games. They've given up 6 runs. They're down 2-1. Or it's 7 runs, something like that. Yeah, 7 runs. They've scored 2. The Braves have scored 7 in 6 games. So yeah, starting pitching is important. Pitching is important in general, but you need a lineup. You need to be able to hit. Look at what the Astros have done. The Astros have mashed their way to 2 wins in this series. And every game's been high scoring. But very impressed with what the Red Sox are doing. And this is why it matters when you got to get hot in the playoffs. And the Red Sox are on fire right now. Kike Hernandez is like on another planet right now. And guys are coming through and when it matters.
I can't believe the serious Kike Hernandez is having. I can't believe the season Kike Hernandez had. And you're right. It's all about who gets hot. Right now, Boston's hot. And I'll tell you, that's going to take them as far as they stay hot. That's going to take them to the World Series.
I really think Rafael Devers is just, I know he gets a lot of recognition, but I think he is one of the most underrated players in baseball because that guy is just, and we talk about Juan Soto and how he's so young and such a great hitter. Devers isn't on the same level as Juan Soto, but he sure is impressive for a young guy, the way he approaches at bats and the swings he puts on balls and the how he's not fazed by any pitcher. He can hit anybody. He really is something special. And he's a clutch player also.
Yeah, 890 OPS, 132 OPS plus, 38 home runs.
Yeah.
He's been legit, and he's only 24. He's not in that class, you're right, but he's right outside of that class. He's nothing to look twice at.
He might be a free agent after next year, which is insane to think. But yeah, he came up in 2017. He met the rookie requirements. But he might have came up later in the year and they got that extra year out of him.
He had 58 games played in 2017.
Yeah.
He's
a free agent in 2024. He's eligible for arbitration. So there's probably a bunch of technicalities in his contract. I need to talk about what I just heard in this broadcast. And it is a problem in general, especially in baseball with broadcasting. The guy, Joe Davis, that was on this broadcast, I think is excellent. The Dodgers announcer. He's
unbelievable.
I love listening to him call games. We know, I think everybody knows how we feel about the ESPN booth. It's terrible. Thank God Vescursion's leaving, and the biggest part is we need A-Rod to leave. But anyways,
I want to say something about that when you're done.
Okay. John Smoltz. He is obviously John Smoltz is a Hall of Famer, great pitcher. I loved hearing, little tricks and insights about the game. That's cool and everything. He said with men on second and third just now in the bottom of the ninth of that Red Sox game with Kike Hernandez up and Rafael Devers on deck, 1 out, he said Ray should think about walking Hernandez here to take away that push bunt. I was like, what? Because the Rays had 3 guys. They had a guy playing up the middle. They were shifting, and they only had 1 guy on the right side of the infield. So he was saying to take away the risk of the Red Sox doing a safety squeeze and a push bunt to the right side of the infield, they should intentionally walk him.
To face
Rafael Devers.
Oh, good.
With the bases loaded and 1 out. So now you can't pitch around Rafael Devers because if you do, you're going to walk in the winning room. I don't.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
That's got to be like to take away a push bunt. I would get it if Rafael Devers was up and Kevin Plawecki was on deck. Sure.
I mean, listen, you're kind of in a no-win situation at that point. You have Kike up, who's been incredibly hot, and then you have Devers on deck. Right. So there's no situation in which you want, like, you're not saying, oh, this is a better situation. Like it's both crappy.
Right.
So yeah, that makes no sense at all.
It is. And I know you want to make a point. It is really bad. The ESPN booth, like they really need to figure out something about that because ESPN is supposed to be the worldwide leader in sports and except for their NBA, all of their commentators are not that great. The Monday Night Football booth, I don't like it either. I think Louis Riddick makes a bunch of stupid points. I'm not crazy about Steve Levy either. But I'll let you make your point that you wanted to say about the ESPN booth.
Well, the Colts just missed a game-winning field goal. We're going to overtime. Matt Vasgersian did a game on MLB Network on Sunday. He did the Red Sox Ray game. And Matt Vasgersian, without A-Rod, without ESPN, is good. He's not my favorite again, but he's good. He's a solid national broadcaster. I've heard him do Angel games on the regional network. He is good. Mm-hmm. It's just when he's doing ESPN and when he's with A-Rod, he's a different person. And I almost feel like he has to carry that booth when he's with A-Rod because A-Rod seriously knows nothing. Now Vasgersian's gone from ESPN. He wasn't the problem. It's A-Rod, and they're trying to keep A-Rod. I don't understand what they think, what they see. I mean, their ratings have gone up, but I don't think that's because of the booth. I think that's just because of, baseball is not back, but the ratings are good.
Right.
So they have a massive problem with A-Rod.
I think they're like told at ESPN to ponder to the casual fan because when you think about it, I guess most of the viewers are casual fans, but then again, I would give a rebuttal to that because what casual fan's gonna like instead of doing whatever they're gonna do on a weeknight
Sunday night,
say let me watch a Sunday night baseball game. Like I think the majority of those viewers would be fans that are interested. I guess they're thinking maybe more kids and people who are interested in getting into baseball that are watching, but yeah, some of
it's not like A-Rod's teaching you anything. It's not like A-Rod's growing this game.
And that wild card game was just absolutely, it honestly kept me entertained. The Yankees lost that game. It kept me entertained. Like I was just waiting for something else that A-Rod was going to say, like it's some stupid thing. And then I don't know if Joey Gallo, I guess since he took his number, he like hates him because every opportunity he had to criticize Joey Gallo, he took.
I mean, you would think Joey Gallo's banging J-Lo, but
yeah, woo.
With the way
they're split up now. She's with Ben Affleck. She's probably popping bottles right now because the Red Sox just won. Ben
Affleck's she's all over with Ben Affleck, and she's not hiding anything. Yeah,
listen, dude, they don't call her Jenny from the block for for nothing.
It's PDA all over the place. I got a notification from the New York Post last week. They were in the city. Oh boy.
Oh
yeah, they were like drooling all over each other. Anyway,
he's like a womanizer too.
Who, Affleck?
Ben Affleck. Yeah,
they were together.
Yeah.
This is their second time together.
It's probably all for publicity.
No, I think they're in love.
Who knows, man?
I would like to know.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what goes on. I would like to know what goes on in J-Lo's head. I would. Like, why would you break up with A-Rod? I mean, completely off the field
I think
and completely out of the booth. A-Rod's the boy.
I don't know about that. He's kind of like an egomaniac, but yeah.
Makes TikToks. He's the man.
Oh yeah.
When he's not working, he's great.
Right.
And he's pretty. I actually like him in the Fox broadcast booth.
Yeah.
I mean, not the broadcast booth, the pregame, the Fox pregame and postgame.
I think he's not better like that. He's better as a
because you can F around and you're joking around with your friends, basically.
Right.
It's much more relaxed. There's not a lot of pressure. You could say something stupid. You're just gonna have Frank Thomas and Big Poppy laughing at you. I want to say this. I was watching on Friday. It was the Astros White Sox, and Buck Showalter was doing the game with Bob Costas and somebody else. He said something racist, and Buck Showalter is sitting there saying, criticizing the Rays, how they're using all these pitchers. Yeah, he was criticizing the Rays and saying, oh, they use all these pitchers, all these relievers. You would think they'd go out and get more pitching to so they don't have to use all these relievers. And I was like, Buck, they want to do this. Like, this is how they win. Like, they use relievers. And somebody went back at him, and then he was like, no, you don't think they'd want more Tyler Glasnows? I'm like, of course they would want more Tyler Glasnows, but who wouldn't want more Tyler Glasnows?
Yeah, like they're just selling them at the store.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's
I wouldn't take bullpen advice from Buck Showalter, the guy who didn't use Zach Britton in a wild card game.
Buck Showalter said if the Mets called, he'd pick up the phone.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully the Mets don't call.
Yeah, I would not want Buck Showalter to be my manager. Listen, I don't even think Buck Showalter is like a bad manager, but I do not like that fit with the Mets at all.
I do not.
I don't think he's a good manager though.
He's really outdated.
Yeah.
And that guy is outdated.
Yeah. It's another Tony La Russa.
But Tony La Russa has been an analytics guy since the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, all right, La Russa's outdated when it comes to, being in the locker room, obviously, and dealing with players, but he's kind of on the same page, I would guess, with that front office.
Right.
There's something. Oh, we'll talk about the football broadcast when we get to it, because that was a mess yesterday. It was Troy Aikman.
Did you see how many points you have?
Yes.
You have 212 points.
Yeah, please keep talking your crap about my team in that league.
That's an amazing performance from a 0-4 team.
Like, you're just wait until I go on a run here.
All right.
Okay, and go 9-4 and beat your ass and put my name on the trophy.
Okay.
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 I had enough of this shit talking with my team.
Okay.
What else do we have? We did one.
We got
series.
Brewers Braves, and I really want to talk about this series because I have beef with the Brewers.
The Brew Crew, listen, you know they're my guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell are we doing taking out Freddie Peralta in the after 4 innings?
And I don't, this series ain't over, but I've been saying it the whole year. This team's really good. Like their pitching is very, very good. But I was just never feeling this offense to take them far in the playoffs. And they're even exceeding my expectations in terms, in the opposite direction. They're making they put up 2 runs in 27 innings in 3 games, which is just like awful. They got shut out twice and they won that other game 2-1. So they better get these bats going because they're not going anywhere. They're scoring 1 run a game, not even.
I think I'm a big guy, right? I'll say this.
Yeah.
I've never seen a combination of fat people on a baseball team.
Oh, for the Brewers?
Daniel Vogelbach.
Yeah, Rowdy Tellez.
Oh, Rowdy Tellez and Omar Narvaez.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God, you got 3/5 of your offensive line right there.
Yeah.
And Vogelbach's a big dude. I mean,
Yeah.
Vogelbach couldn't even play football. I'll be completely honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
He is that big.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of food they got in Milwaukee, but it must be good because
I don't know.
Those boys can eat.
They really can. Vogelbach's gigantic. I mean, look, he came up to. I was in class today watching the game. He comes up the bat. I was like, oh good God. What do you think? I'm listening to English literature? Teacher, yeah. You think I'm listening to English literature? I'm watching the Braves.
You're taking English literature.
Yeah, it's like English comp too.
What are you reading, like Shakespeare and crap?
Actually, yeah, I'm dominating though. I'm dominating.
That dude Shakespeare. That's another guy who was like on acid and just scribbled a bunch of words on a piece of paper.
You think I give a crap in 2021?
Like that's not even. What is that?
That's not English. I don't understand why professors think I would give a crap about listening to this guy who has no clue what I'm dealing with right now.
You taking philosophy yet?
No.
Oh, wait for that. No,
I'm not taking that.
That's going to be something else.
I took psychology.
Those dudes would they would literally look up at the sun and be like, why is the sun yellow and why is the sky blue? And that's literally an entire course just talking about how much of a genius they are for asking that question when it's like this guy obviously just smoked too much weed one night and just wrote a bunch of shit down on a piece of paper and made a course out of it.
School's a joke.
School's a joke. This is a joke.
Oh God. The Ravens are about to score. Hopefully they do.
Colin Cowherd's a joke. And when we get to
football, tell me why my boy Colin Cowherd.
No. I'm not gonna say because when we get to football, I got a lot to say about your boy Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, I got a lot to say about your boy Troy Aikman.
Okay. All right. We have not covered the Dodgers and the Giants series, which is currently in the middle of their game.
I was actually watching it while you were talking. No, I'm kidding.
1-0 Giants.
Oh, I like the Giants to win today. My prediction.
They really, I don't know what it is, what kind of magic they got running in San Francisco, but this team is 107 games they won.
Wins.
And Logan Webb, Alex Wood, all these guys phenomenal. Kevin Gausman, phenomenal year.
And Logan Webb can pitch.
Yeah. So
that guy can pitch.
He had a really good first half. He had a 3-something ERA, and then he said, well, watch my second half, and had a 2.7, and then earned the game 1 start. So this team's a very balanced and just all-around fundamental team that has good talent everywhere on the field.
Gausman kind of took a step back, but he still did he pitch terribly last week? The last game. I'm not gonna.
That was a game against Urias.
I didn't watch a lot.
No, he didn't pitch terribly. He didn't pitch good, but he didn't pitch terribly.
5 innings, 4 runs. No, he wasn't that bad. Listen, I think right now they're going to the World Series, today.
Okay.
My pick is Astros Giants World Series.
What are you saying if they lose this game, though?
I still like them.
Okay. Fair enough.
I think they're like, I didn't believe all year, and I didn't even believe when we got to the postseason. And I'm sitting there watching them the other night, and I'm like,
right,
yeah, this is a team. I watched Logan Webb dominate that Dodgers lineup, and I'm like, yeah, there's something there, there's something there. I don't know if it's going to get them to the top, but something's rolling over there in San Francisco that's working, and I think they're going to beat the Dodgers.
Yeah, there's just like that magic. Did you
Ravens
see
win.
Did you see what Ryan Tepera said?
Yes, yeah, I really want to talk about this.
Yeah. So you could explain it. I don't even remember exactly what.
So Ryan Tepera basically said he's a reliever for the White Sox. He basically had said, "Oh, well, did you see the Astros bats when we played Game 3 here in Chicago? How there was a lot more swing and misses. How they weren't on top of everything." And basically, he wasn't accusing them of cheating, but he was saying, "Listen, this team is sketchy. They've had a sketchy past, and I wouldn't put it past them."
Listen, I don't want to, I kind of hope that he's exaggerating and nothing's going on, because I just want to move on from all this crap with the Astros and everything. And I still really don't like the Astros, and I don't want to see them win, but I'm not like, still so butthurt about everything.
Red Sox, Astros. What do you want to win?
The Astros.
Okay.
Good
answer.
But I really do hope he's lying, and he has a right to be a little sketchy. Think things are a little sketchy, because that's the way it went when they were cheating. They were swinging and missing a lot more at home, on the road, and putting up more runs at home. But if they had the balls to do that again, it would be something. But I don't think they are.
Ryan Tepera, you're gonna look like an idiot now because you opened your mouth and you have no proof.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have said anything. That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
I don't think they're cheating. I personally don't think they're cheating.
Me neither. And especially it was one game.
Chill out.
He's
talking. They put 5 runs on you in 2 innings.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, okay, they didn't finish the game great. They were up on you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So shut up. Next, please. It's just so annoying. I don't know why I'm like I've been defending them, but I don't know. I like these comeback stories of like, oh, we're hating on us against the world. I like those stories. I want to see it happen.
Yeah.
For an entertainment purpose. I understand why you don't want it, but for an entertainment purpose.
No, I get it. Of course. That's like the way the Yankees have been with everything. They've been the evil empire.
Right.
And it's kind of fun to root for a team like that, because you're like, okay, well, everybody hates us. Must be doing something right.
Yeah. Hop on, hop off.
Yeah. You want to touch on Mets Yankees a little bit?
I do, because I'm very interested in this. What do you want to do? Let's do Yankees, because we missed an episode where we did not get to talk about the Yankees lost the wild card game, but I mean, that's completely out of the news cycle. Now the team that beat them is in the ALCS.
Mm-hmm.
But Yankees got decisions to make, and I think they're going to keep it easy here. Personally, I think they're going to keep Boone. I wouldn't move off of Boone. My tone had changed from the middle of the season with Boone and Cashman, but I'd keep both of them. I think it's a no-brainer. Boone's a good man. I think he's a smart baseball man, and he does make a couple of mistakes. I know Yankee fans get on him, but I'm giving you an unbiased look at it. Who are you going to hire? That's who I'm going to say. Who's better than him?
I'm still honestly torn if I want Boone gone or not. And I do expect him to come back, even though his contract is expired. I think they're going to renew it. And he had a sketchy year. He had a lot of criticism. The team obviously underperformed. But I don't think that's all to put on him. I think the way, we realized this roster was a little flawed. I think Hal Steinbrenner's to blame. I think Brian Cashman's to blame. I think Aaron Boone deserves some of the blame, yes. But I think that Boone is going to come back. He's loved by the players. He's loved by the front office, everything like that. But they need to figure out something soon, because this championship window has been open for about 5 years now, and it ain't going to be open for a long time. So they need to figure out some things this offseason. I think you need to change at least 2 positions on offense. You need to fortify the bullpen better. You need to maybe fortify the end of that rotation. But Brian Cashman, like I said, deserves some of the blame. I think his job is safe. I would not fire him. But he's got some questions to answer, and he needs to be better, because the way that this team was built this year, it was they were lucky to honestly make it as far as they did.
We can put blame on Brian Cashman. The blame is on Cashman and Steinbrenner, and say, oh, his job's safe because he's earned that right. And I'm kicking myself for even thinking about the fact that I would consider firing Brian Cashman when I said that a few months ago, because at the end of the day, Brian Cashman is one of the top executives in baseball.
Yes.
And he would be hired in a second by a lot of teams and a lot of top contending teams.
The Mets would hire him right away.
The Mets would hire him in 2 seconds, Jay.
Yeah.
Cohen and Cashman are like butt buddies.
Yeah.
It'd be done in 2 seconds. But we could, it's on Cashman. It's completely on Cashman. He didn't do enough. It's completely on Steinbrenner. Steinbrenner didn't give Cashman enough money to spend this season in the offseason to improve this team. So that's where the blame is.
You're right. They didn't want to go over that luxury tax. And I think that whole point that Hal Steinbrenner was saying, where, he said, I just saw the Rays beat us in the ALDS and make it to the World Series last year, and they have a quarter of our payroll and everything like that. Like, we don't need to go over the luxury tax. Yes, that is true. The Rays did do it with a lot less money. However, you are not the Tampa Bay Rays. You do not operate the same way that the Tampa Bay Rays do. You do not have the same philosophies, have the same manager, have whatever. You can spend more money, and that you need to, because the Yankees had a lot of flaws on their team. They were way too right-handed they have way too many right-handed hitters. They weren't athletic enough. Their defense wasn't great enough. They weren't good enough at base running, everything like that. They had some trouble on the pitching side as well. And they missed out on some guys this offseason. And I think the main guy you want to talk about is Marcus Simeone, a guy that would have fit in really well to this team. He wouldn't solve your left-handed hitting problems, but he would obviously provide you a very good bat in a position where it's hard to find a really good bat. But I think
Michael Brantley's a name that comes up all the time.
Yeah, I think the Yankees need to be very aggressive this offseason. And to be honest with you, I don't know if they're going to be. It's going to be a little scary. I'm very nervous for how this offseason is going to go, because I think you need to kind of retool a lot this offseason. I think you got to let go some guys that maybe have done a decent job, and say, yes, you've done a good job, but we need to find somebody better. And when I say that, I mean, I think Luke Voigt's gone. I think that's an obvious one. I think Gio Urshela could be gone. And that's kind of what I'm saying, where you've done a good job, but we need to find better. That's maybe where Marcus Simeone can fit in, or somebody else, or Corey Seager, but I don't think Seager is open to playing third base. And maybe somewhere in the outfield. I mean, where does Aaron Hicks fit into this team next year also?
I don't think he fits in at all.
Yeah. And that's a tough piece to move, coming off a 20-game season or whatever he played.
I disagree with you. I think they're going to be ultra aggressive. I think you're going to.
I hope you're right.
I don't think you just said 2 positions, on the offense. I think more. I see this team being a completely different team than it was last year. I don't think Urshela's back. I think you're getting Seager. I think they'll make a move in the outfield as well. DH spot. They're going to need a first baseman. I don't think they're bringing Rizzo back.
I don't want to be a nut here, but I would say something that is unlikely, but I wouldn't completely shut down is
what are you about to say?
Is a Stanton trade. I think you could see, if things get a little crazy, you can move Stanton, because obviously people see how great of a hitter he is when he's healthy and he's on. And I don't want them to move Stanton. I love Stanton. He's a great player for our team. But if Brian Cashman thinks, okay, I think we need to change up our lineup a little bit, and the way we play baseball, and get maybe a little more flexible in the outfield or with the DH spot, and he wants to shed that contract and trade away Stanton, I don't think that's completely out of the question. But the number one priority this offseason, we all want to talk about how they need to improve in certain areas. Extend Aaron Judge. Do not let Aaron Judge go into this next season on a contract year and try and re-sign him in the offseason when he's an unrestricted free agent. Do not do that. Please, for the love of God.
All right. I want to ask you about Judge's contract in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can move Stanton. I still think that contract is tough, and not taking anything away from what he did last season, from what he did just past season. He was great. He was clutch. He was unbelievable. You're going to be dealing with a handful of teams that are willing to take on that contract, as long as the DH is in the NL too. I mean, you could have a team like the Mets who are going to have a lot of money to spend, but I don't know. I still think that contract's almost immovable.
Agreed. And listen, we're talking like
completely hypothetical,
crazy hypothetical scenario right now. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it's definitely more possible than it would be in the past couple of years.
Now, a Judge extension, I agree with you. They should get that. He deserves it. Big extensions for big star players. I'd say about 70% of the time, probably more. The back end of that contract is not good. So almost that's higher than 70%. Like 80% of the time, the back end of the contract is not good. The Cole contract in 6 years is not going to be good. The DeGrom possible extension is not going to be good at the end of it. The Lindor contract doesn't look good right now. It's not going to look good in 7 years. So it's not going to look good. But what does an extension for him look like?
Well, before I get to that, I mean that's what you sign up for when you sign star players like that. In the long end, it's not going to look as great. And you've seen guys like Pujols and Miguel Cabrera and A-Rod and guys like that fizzle out towards the end of their contract. The only guy who's like an anomaly to that is Max Scherzer, who's in the last year of his deal right now with the Nationals. Obviously, he's on the Dodgers right now, but he's still a Cy Young candidate.
He's about to get paid a lot.
Unbelievable. That's literally the greatest contract in baseball history.
Anyways,
might be. Yeah, you expect that. And I think a possible extension he's going to be 30. So I think he gets like 8 years. And it depends. He's not a free agent, so maybe he goes the club friendly route a little bit, the hometown
not club friendly, but a little less than what he would get.
Right. He's not going to, sign up for $20 million a year, but I'd say if they're lucky, like 8 years, 215 gets it done. But I think you could, that's a team friendly one. But if his, agent is aggressive and they're not going to give them a hometown discount, then that number ends up well into the 30 million per year. And well above that.
I'm not good at math. Let me do it on my phone.
215?
You're right.
215 is like 26.5, 27 million a year.
Let's see. I think you're looking there. I think he'll try and get to 30 million a year.
Yeah. I agree.
And then
but they got to take care of him. And I talked about them trading Stanton. A lot of people are like, I don't mean to say a lot of people. I don't really think in the media they say it that much because they're a little smarter than that. But a lot of the casual Yankee fans on Twitter and stuff are like, they should trade Gleyber Torres. I think that's the last thing that they should do.
Well, a couple of months ago, that was a discussion.
Right. But it's 26.8 million, 215.
Yeah, I did it.
But why would you trade a guy who's under club control for a couple more years and isn't expensive and is at the lowest his value's been in a couple of years? Why would you trade him now? Unless you just find out, listen, there's not really a spot for this guy on the team, which I disagree with. And I actually do still believe in Gleyber. I think he's still going to be able to fix whatever problems he's got going on right now.
I think he could be a service. I think he could be I don't think he's going to be like a 38, 40 home run guy, but I think he could be a productive player at second base for you. I don't think he'll be a problem.
I still genuinely believe that this guy can be like a multiple time All-Star in his career. The talent is there. Whatever he's got going on, he's got to figure out.
A lot of it's mental.
But But let's go quick over the positions one more time. I talked about Urshela, I talked about Voigt, but I forgot to mention Gary Sanchez, which I think, if they keep Sanchez, I won't be that mad about it, just because Gary, he is what he is. It's not like this is a glaring hole on this team, because how many great teams have great catchers? That's
Not many.
So, a guy who has a 750 OPS, you take that as a catcher, that's pretty good, but the defense isn't there. The defense isn't great. He's got a great arm, but the overall body of work on the defensive side isn't all that good.
Not good.
Right. But that's enough about the Yankees. We spent a lot of time on baseball, honestly. So we get what even is there about the Mets? The manager?
No, please give my Mets more of a nasty.
We've been talking about what the Mets should do in the offseason for freaking 2 months now. With
who one of the candidates is for president of baseball operations?
No,
you know Moneyball, not Billy Bean. Jonah Hill.
What's that guy's name again?
Paul DePodsta.
Oh my god.
He's been with the A's, the Indians, and the Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe you guys can get Odell.
Here we go with the snarky comments. I have picked out who I want to be the president of baseball operations. I've done my research. I have the guy.
Oh.
His name is Josh Burns.
Who is
he? Is the vice president of baseball operations with the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's been a general manager. He's been a vice president elsewhere. He's been a president of player personnel. He has been with the Dodgers for about 6 years now. He's worked directly under Andrew Friedman. He's got a nice track record. The only thing that he's done bad, it's a little slight thing.
Oh God.
He was the general manager of the Diamondbacks, and he traded Max Scherzer. But that's it. I mean, that's
okay. No, I thought you were going to get into he's got some sexual assault case or something, because that's what right up the Mets.
Well, that's 60% of this damn job. If you cannot get arrested, be a creep, you're good. Like, you're better than all the rest of them.
Don't crash into a tree. Yeah, don't do anything stupid.
Please, God forbid. I just want stability. I just want to win. Like, that's. We'll talk about the Mets when the offseason comes, because I think the Yankees gonna have a busy offseason. The Mets are gonna have an even busier offseason. So that'll be definitely a topic of discussion. We spent a lot of time on baseball, so we're gonna take a break, and then we're gonna talk about some football, because the Ravens just won in overtime in a big comeback win over the Colts. Dumpster fire. There's a lot to get to, but we'll be right back. Here we go. We are back, episode 39. We are ready for the NFL. There's a lot to get to. First, we do want to start off with the news that broke Monday night about John Gruden. He is resigning from the Raiders head coaching job. They went back. They were looking at emails from 10 years ago. There was a couple of emails from 7 years ago. A lot of misogynistic things, a lot of sexist things, a lot of racist things said in these emails from John Gruden. And the first thing that came out was on Friday. They were going through emails, and now they just found even more things throughout the weekend, and he is gone. He is resigned.
Yeah, what a disaster this relationship has been. I mean, it wasn't that crazy up to this point, but obviously this is an insane thing that happened, and something nobody saw coming, and well-deserved that John Gruden's out of his job. But I don't want to put an unsensitive twist on this, because I think it's the topic and the controversy that went down is unfortunate, and it's kind of disgusting that we have these things in the sport. Still, we have people like this in the sport. But in terms of the Raiders, I think this losing the head coach here, I don't think it might be a blessing in disguise, because I don't think this relationship was ever meant to last. The contract in the first place was absolutely ridiculous. 10 years, $100 million to a guy who hasn't coached in basically 15 years. So Gruden, I don't think he was a great coach. I don't think he was a great executive, in terms of drafting and signing players and whatnot. So this could be a blessing in disguise for the Raiders, who are off to a pretty good start to the season, but have struggled as of late, which you kind of expected. We don't really think this team's going anywhere anyways. But yeah, just crazy drama-filled, unexpected story.
It is, and they were fishing through emails from the league because it's like text messages 10 years ago, group messaging, the emails, and they were fishing through them. They're looking for something else. And the New York Times had come across all this, and it was like, oh boy, they're investigating something, and they were like, oh boy, this is a story. This is big. So you're right. It's unfortunate we still deal with these things, and Gruden's out, and a 10-year contract that most likely was never going to go the right way.
Right.
Is now finally over. Right. And you're right. It definitely could be a blessing in disguise here that they finally get to move on and maybe even restart the franchise here.
Yeah. And I don't think this Gruden's he's done. Like, he's going to fall off the face of the earth now. He's not going back to Monday Night Football or anything. Obviously, he's out. He'll probably go coach a high school football team somewhere or something like that.
Yeah, he'll go back home and coach something, but
yeah. So unfortunate. Obviously, I'm sure the Raiders won't hire a coach until the end of the season.
They're promoting one of the assistants.
Yeah,
and his name is very confusing.
It's usually how it goes.
Get it. It is Rich B. Biscaya.
Mm-hmm.
Biscaya.
I don't know how to pronounce that.
They have like Rod Marinelli on that. They've Gus Bradley on the coaching staff, so they're promoting this guy. Good luck to him. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty tough situation over there. Let's move on here and let's talk about very quickly the Giants and the Jets. We'll start with the Giants here as they go to Dallas, and pick them in our picks to cover the spread.
Ooh,
I thought they'd cover the 7. I thought they'd cover the 7. I don't think the outcome, I thought they would lose. I didn't see them winning this game. Not only was the outcome bad, just like I couldn't have drawn it up any worse than how the game actually went.
Right.
The Giants lose their quarterback, who couldn't walk. That's how hard he got hit in the head, going for running in for a touchdown, trying to run in for a touchdown. They lose their running back. They lose the wide receiver, Kenny Golladay. They were already without Jabril Peppers. They were already without Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton. They were already without Andrew Thomas. I mean, it just, he had no chance. Had no chance going into this game, especially with Thomas out. And the improvement Thomas has made is unbelievable to me, because as I'm watching that game last week, I'm like, on Sunday, I'm like, holy crap. Like, Thomas has been playing very well, considering the fact I'm watching Nate Solder get blown up on the left side, and you saw Jones was very uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah. You're right. The Andrew Thomas, the way he's played so far has been very, very surprising, and it's great for the Giants. But yeah, you could tell Jones wasn't very comfortable yesterday. Before he got hurt, he wasn't having the greatest game. He was missing some throws. Obviously, had a lot of pressure on him. But you're right. Anything that could go wrong did go wrong yesterday. Saquon, you got to feel bad for the guy at this point. I mean, the way the injury happened, it was away from the play, just a freak kind of thing that happened.
If Jones, the quarterback puts the ball on him, it doesn't happen.
Right. Jones, that was an unfortunate play. Probably could have avoided that.
Bad play call. If you could stuff it in from the 1 yard line, the 2 plays before then, you're not dealing with this.
Jason Garrett strikes again. I mean, that's all I say. I mean, if that guy's not out of a job at the end of the year, then I don't know who will be.
I'm coming to terms with this Giants team like this. Get rid of Gettleman, get rid of the whole front office, get rid of Judge, start fresh, completely fresh. If the quarterback plays well enough to keep himself here, I'm okay with that.
Right.
But start fresh with the general manager and head coach. Clearly, this franchise needs a massive, massive change.
Right.
And the front office, besides from Gettleman, is the same thing from the last regime, from Reese's regime. Mm-hmm. So you didn't really change anything except the guy that is ultimately making the final decision, but you still have the same people collaborating and getting him to this decision. Mm-hmm. The Giants franchise is a mess. It's a dumpster fire. A guy to blame is 100% John Mara. I don't want to hear from this guy until he fixes this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kadarius Toney look really, really good.
I was just about to say
Kadarius
that's
Toney,
the only positive you could take away from that game is Kadarius
he
Toney.
looks
Besides him
unbelievable.
throwing a haymaker. But,
that's a positive. That's a
yeah.
positive. You throw as many haymakers as you want as long as the game's over and it's at a Dallas Cowboy.
Right.
That's okay.
Right.
But yeah, Kadarius Toney looks like a serious player. And again, I liked him coming out of college. So we'll see if he can keep this up. But he looks like he's a special guy. I'm watching the highlights yesterday. He is so shifty. He is so quick, and he is so explosive when he gets the ball in his hands. I think he's gonna be a very good player.
I gotta say one thing. I'm not loving the number though.
89.
Yeah, I don't like that number on a receiver. It's a little tight endish to me.
Yeah, I'll call him up. I'm telling you.
All right, yeah, let him know.
He says he likes the number.
Okay.
He says the number doesn't make the player makes the number. So he wants to make 89 special. It was a nice quote.
Fair enough. I mean, if the number is the biggest of his problems, then he's doing something right.
Yeah. He's punching.
And that's kind of the way. I guess we'll shift over the Jets now because I wanted to make that point with Tony about Elijah Moore because I think that they need to do a better job. The Jets have had this problem, and it continued on Sunday with they get off to these awfully slow starts.
That's not a problem. It's a concern at this point.
Yeah. And I think part of that contributes to they're not getting it in the hands of their playmakers enough. And I think Elijah Moore is one of those guys. And I think they're force feeding the ball to Corey Davis too much and just trying to, get design too many plays to him, establish him as the number one guy, whatever. Now, let's see what this kid Elijah Moore can do. We heard all of this kind of similar to Tony in the terms of how explosive, he's very shifty. He's a fast guy, runs a sub 4.4. And, they're a little different. Tony's more of that kick return, elusive run after catch guy. But Elijah Moore's supposed to be this great route runner. And, you can put him in the slide, you can put him outside. And I haven't seen them get that creative with him. And I think that's on Robert Saleh, it's on Mike LaFleur. So Zach Wilson's got to play better also. But, this is a growing year for him. You can't put too much pressure on this team. And, I'm watching that game yesterday and I'm getting invested in it. And I'm very happy. I have enjoyed this season because I'm very happy to be back at the point where I'm just rooting for my team to win. I'm not worried about, what draft pick are we going to have and who's our quarterback going to be. I want the team to suck because I want our head coach to get fired. I'm done with that. So, it was tough to see them lose yesterday, but they made a nice run at a comeback. Wilson had a good second half, a good 2-minute drill at the end. But something you want to see out of Zach getting better and better at is making the easy plays. He spiked a screen pass. He's missed a couple, 10-yard throws that should be completions. His accuracy's been inconsistent. So we've seen he can make the big plays. We can see he makes plays on his feet, but you want to see him getting better and better every week.
Even the best quarterbacks will take whatever the defense is giving them.
Yeah.
Whatever short stuff, it might not be the flashy play.
Right. Tom Brady's made a freaking career off of that.
Exactly.
I mean, he can make it to Tom Brady, but he's made a career off of that.
Get it to the guys that are open. Get it to the guys that it's easy. And he listen again. It's growing pains. He'll figure it out. And the only concern I would have, and it's not even with Saleh because I really like this guy. And it's not even I wouldn't even call it a concern. Just LaFleur's got to be better.
Yes,
I think 100%. The slow
100%.
starts are on him more than they're on Saleh.
Right.
And Saleh, I love that Saleh's taking blame for it.
Yeah.
But it's not, and he's taking blame for his coach, and that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's on LaFleur. I mean, we saw Adam Gase, who was the play caller. I mean, this first 15 scripted plays, they were a Super Bowl team on offense.
Yeah.
And then when he had to make adjustments, it was a shit show.
Yeah.
They make the adjustments. They come out in the second half and they're really good. Right. Just put it together. That's.
I mean, one big positive to take away from that game, the defense didn't play well, but a big positive to take away from the Jet game is take it with a grain of salt because I'm not a big fan of Pro Football Focus, but with offensive linemen, it's a good way of evaluating them because we don't really have stats for offensive linemen. Elijah Vera Tucker had a fantastic game. He was the highest rated offensive lineman in the league. He had a 92 rating from Pro Football Focus. So that's something that you like to see.
100%. Yeah, listen, just improvement from the whole team all week. The defense did not play well. They stepped up in the second half a little bit, but
I'd say that's enough about our poverty-ass New York sports teams, and let's get to the juicy headlines around the NFL.
definitely. Because the Buffalo Bills walked into Kansas City yesterday and said, no, we are the class of the AFC.
Yes.
They were coming for blood last night and they took it. The Bills go to Kansas City and beat the Chiefs 38-20. Long weather delay at halftime. Was not a fan of that.
No.
But there's a lot to discuss here. Number one being the Chiefs defense it's a massive, massive problem. And I think they'll make the playoffs, but they're not going to be a high seed, and that's going to be because of that defense. And Patrick Mahomes is, you're going to talk about it. Patrick Mahomes is trying to do too much. There's a lot of pressure on him, and he's making dumb mistakes that he shouldn't.
Yeah. And listen, the Chiefs haven't had the easiest schedule, but that's no excuse for a team that, has been to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row, been to the
and has the worst defense in the league.
3 in a row. Exactly. You want to call yourself the favorite in the AFC. You want to call yourself a Super Bowl contender. They lost to the Ravens, contender in the AFC. They lost to the Chargers, contender in the AFC. And they just lost to the Bills, contender in the AFC. And one of their wins was against the Browns in a game they probably should have lost. But the Browns kind of gave that one away. They've had a couple bad losses, the Browns, this year. But you're right. There's major concerns for this team. And, we want to point out the defense and how much of a problem that is. But the offense didn't even look good yesterday.
The offensive line is a problem.
Yeah.
And it's a new group.
Great, but
it's a new group off the offensive line. And, you think we would know it takes time for these guys to, get used to each other. You can't just put 5 brand new guys and tell them, okay, you're going to do this. And, it takes a while to get used to each other. The Bills blitzed once yesterday, and he was under pressure all game long, and they even sacked him twice.
I bet you the Chiefs are really missing Mitchell Schwartz right now.
Why didn't they bring him back?
I don't know. I guess they saw something in him that everybody else didn't see. They just don't.
Where is he?
He's a free agent still, I think. So maybe everybody else does see it. I don't know. It's very odd.
Because he was so good still.
Yeah.
Listen, they improved the offensive line. I give them credit, but it has to play better.
I want to get to this thing about, I love debating with players, especially with quarterbacks in the NFL. And we've put this pressure on Pat Mahomes where, he's the baby goat. He's the next Brady. He's this and that. He's going to win so many Super Bowl rings and everything. I feel like I've had this argument a million times. Tom Brady is a fantastic quarterback. One of the greatest that I've ever seen, talent-wise. That guy has been in the best situations that any quarterback can ask for. I mean, he had a top 10 defense. Just think about how crazy this is. He had a top 10 defense 10 years in a row in New England. That is insane. I mean, just think about how rare it is to have a top 10 defense each year, having it 10 years in a row. Anyways, these quarterbacks can only do so much. Pat Mahomes can go out there and throw for 1 million yards and whatever, but without a defense and without a great team around you, you can only get so far. And we're starting to see cracks in the Chiefs right now. And Mahomes isn't going to be able to get to the Super Bowl if this is the way this team is playing. I don't care how good he plays. And we saw it last year. They lost the Super Bowl because the offensive line was dreadful and the defense wasn't playing well.
Yeah.
He's not God. Let's stop acting like Pat Mahomes. The guy is otherworldly talented. He's one of the best throwers of the ball I've ever seen. But let's stop acting like he's untouchable and is going to win MVP every single year and everything. There are a lot of good quarterbacks in this league. And Josh Allen and the Bills could have a dynasty on their hands. You do not know. Like, Josh Allen is very, very talented.
Well, you know what? We did raise this bar to Mahomes. We did. You're right. There's a ton of pressure on him. And he looks like he's this otherworldly guy. And I still believe in him. I think for the next 10 years, I truly believe that we're still going to talk about him as the best quarterback. He's not going to win 7 Super Bowls.
Right. You're
right.
Exactly. I still think Pat Mahomes is a fantastic quarterback, and I'm not calling him overrated or anything like that. The point I'm trying to get to here is, yes, he's not going to win 7 rings or whatever. And I don't think any quarterback's going to win 7 rings ever. Honestly, I really don't think that's unless there's another fantastic scenario that Brady's been in with the best coach of all time and the top 10 defense every year and great O-line and everything. I don't see that as happening. I mean, we saw it. Just give a couple of examples. We saw it. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl with a great Packers team, and then things started getting a little dysfunctional with the roster, and he had a losing season. He missed out on the playoffs. Mike McCarthy got fired. Russell Wilson, beginning of his career, had a great start to his career, won a Super Bowl, lost one that he probably should have won. Then all of a sudden, no more Legion of Boom. Offensive line's getting bad. They're not winning the division every year. They're fighting to make the playoffs. They're falling short in the playoffs, whatever.
Oh, look at the reason why. And I know nobody likes to talk about it. The quarterback gets paid. The second the quarterback gets paid, it's 25-30% of your cap space going to one player. And Patrick Mahomes is taking up almost $50 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of percentage of that cap. So I'm not telling the guy to take a pay cut. You shouldn't tell a guy to take a pay cut. But you see a lot of these teams winning with these quarterbacks on whether it's a team-friendly deal or it's the rookie contract. Right. That's how teams are built.
Right. Then it makes sense.
And the roster, the Chiefs roster, they did the best they could rebuilding the offensive line. I think it'll improve throughout the year. I think it'll be a good offensive line, but the defense is a massive problem, and they haven't been able to spend on. I mean, they spent on Frank Clark and Chris Jones. Is that enough? Probably not.
Right. So yeah, you're right. It's not even just to sign free agents. It's to bring guys back, to re-sign people. But going back to that, the point I was trying to say with, setting expectations for guys and expecting these quarterbacks, where we rip on quarterbacks for not having enough rings or whatever, all these team accolades. I mean, obviously winning is important, but like I just said, the quarterback can only do so much. I mean, we saw Deshaun Watson have one of the best years statistically as a quarterback that we've seen recently, and he went 4-12 last year. But I want to bring up a point that Colin Cowherd said, where he said that, talking about Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know what he has against Aaron Rodgers, but I always see him ripping him apart in the media. He said Russell Wilson is undoubtedly a better player than Aaron Rodgers, and he said Russell Wilson doesn't get his coaches fired. I don't really know where he's going with that because Mike McCarthy got fired from the Packers, but what the hell does that have to do with them being good quarterbacks or not? He was trying to get to the point where, Rodgers is so dramatic and he causes all these problems. Wasn't I just reading headlines that Russell Wilson was holding out for a contract and he wanted to get traded from Seattle and everything like that? So I don't like the way quarterbacks are treated, in the media where there's these different stigmas against each guy. Why can't we just evaluate everybody as a player and the way they perform and stats they put up and stop with all the other BS?
Listen, I like Colin Cowherd a little bit. I think he's entertaining. I think he's a smart guy too. I think a lot of this, especially with Rodgers now, is guys getting back at Rodgers. It's a lot of these media personalities getting back at Rodgers at this point because he's called them out and he leaves everybody hanging. Also, I think he's a dramatic guy. I it's nothing against him. He's a drama queen here in this whole situation. In this offseason and even a couple we've seen issues. But yeah, I mean to take it out on his play, there's no, you can't back it up. There's nothing to back up. I think Wilson's a fantastic player. I'm a big Russell Wilson fan. He's not better than Aaron Rodgers.
No.
And he's wrong. So I can't defend that there. And by the way, not now because we don't have time. We're about to see the end of the Seahawks. I mean,
you might be right. Honestly, you might be right. And I hope we are going to see the end of the Seahawks because the Jets might have definitely 2 top 10 picks this year, which would be nice. I was just going to get to. I really like Josh Allen. And I really like I like the Bills, but I wasn't crazy confident about them going into this year. I was a little skeptical. I wasn't going to be surprised they had another great year, but I thought maybe there could be a little regression in certain areas, but this team just looks like they're going to run over everybody.
The biggest difference for me and the reason why I picked them to go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl was because I thought the defense would improve. And that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about, listen, the offense, they had a couple of weeks where they didn't look great. I thought the first 2 weeks, and you could take it with a grain of salt. It's the first 2 weeks of the year. They put up 35 against Miami, but they didn't look great. It wasn't pretty. And obviously against one of the best defenses in the league, week 1 against the Steelers, it wasn't pretty at all. But man, they put it together. I mean, they put it together against a, in quotation marks, good Washington defense, and now they go to Kansas City and absolutely dominate. They're impressive. They look very good. I think there's 3 teams in the AFC right now. 3 teams, and I think the Bills are at the top, and then it's the Ravens, and then it's the Chargers. Those are the 3 teams right there. I think that's pretty obvious.
I think the Browns deserve some recognition in there too. I mean, they've had a bit of a rough road so far, but they've shown that they can play with the top dogs. They almost beat the Chargers yesterday on the road in a crazy game. And
unfortunately,
almost beat Kansas City. But I know exactly what you're going to say. I think Baker does restrict that team to a certain extent. You know
me so well.
Yeah.
He's not the quarterback.
No, he's not the answer. I'm kind of done with Baker. Who is the answer? Justin Herbert, because
I love Herbie.
I mean, this guy had a fantastic rookie season, the best we've ever seen. And, people were picking him to win the MVP this year. And I was like, all right, pump the brakes a little bit.
You're crazy.
He had a great year. I don't think he's going to win the MVP. I'm not going to pump the brakes right now. I think listen, this might be the craziest take I've taken on the show. I think at the end of the year, we could be talking about who's better, Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes. I'll just say that right now. Because
I don't think crazy.
He is not only doubling down on that season he had last year, he is taking another step. He's maybe taking 2 more steps right now. He is amazing. And that offense is so fun to watch.
Listen, Herbert's been my guy for a while.
And I'll tell you,
the Giants wanted him.
I'll tell you, Brandon Staley is doing an unbelievable job. He is getting everything out of that offense right now. And
did I pick him to win Coach of the Year or no?
One of us did. I forgot which one.
I think it was you, but then you did, and then I ended up looking at it and right before the year started, and I was like, it's a good bet for Coach of the Year.
You know what's the oddest part about this whole season with the Chargers, though? Where's Keenan Allen? Mike Williams is stealing the show right now.
He is. And Austin Eckler. I mean,
he's unbelievable.
Austin Eckler's been great too in the pass game, and he's setting in the run game is setting up for the pass. Listen, you're right. They're fun to watch. They've been exciting. It doesn't matter who he's throwing to. That's how good he's been. He's not going to his number 1 guy. And Mike Williams has been considered a bust his whole career, and he's getting the best out of Mike Williams we've seen in Mike Williams' whole career now.
Yep.
So, yeah, he's been unbelievable. He's got a 104.7 passer rating.
Yeah.
315 yards per game. He's got 13 touchdowns in 5 games already. He's completing 67% of his passes. I mean,
Mike Williams got 470 yards and he leads the NFL in touchdowns.
That's crazy.
It really is.
So listen, I'm rooting for the Chargers there. I mean, I'm rooting for the Bills because they're my pick and I support Buffalo Bills. They're my second favorite team.
Mm-hmm.
And you may or may not see me at Josh Allen jersey soon, but yeah. Big fan of my Oregon Ducks and my Justin Herbert.
No, thank you. I appreciate that all these great quarterbacks are in the AFC. Please bring as many as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, you actually what you can do is you can give us all the old like retreads, to the NFC, and you can
get
take
the
all
Tom
those
Brady
guys.
and the Rodgers and the Wilson, the guys who are starting to age. Yeah, no, we'll take all the young guys who are gonna be Hall of Famers.
We'll take Jalen Hurts and Taylor Heineke and Kirk Cousins.
That's fine. We'll take Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Mahomes, and Herbert. Yeah, it's okay.
It really is. It's honestly unbelievable how.
And whatever the hell happens with Watson, if he somehow plays, wherever he goes, if he stays in the AFC and is playing football again, there's another one. So.
Oh, Trevor Lawrence too. Yeah, he's there soon. He's in that class soon.
Not in that.
Soon.
On that.
Give it a year. What else we got here?
We're just about done here because what was it? This holy crap, it's late. Anyways, I just find it hysterical how this whole thing with Trevor Lawrence last year when the Jets were going to go 0-16 or whatever, and they were like, Trevor Lawrence needs to do everything just to avoid the New York Jets and everything. And the whole time I'm like, the Jets are like a pathetic organization, but like, why are we acting like Jacksonville is this like desired destination? And look at the freaking Jaguars. They haven't won a game since September of 2020. Their coach is getting lap dances from college girls at bars.
Is the bar named after him?
Yeah. So he ain't in a better situation. I'll tell you that.
No, it's not a better situation. And one of the worst takes I've had in probably my life is that Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence will be in an AFC championship game in 3 years.
Oh.
That was a bad take. I'm a big Urban Meyer guy. And don't look great. I'll tell you this much. You asked me about 3 weeks ago. What do you remember what you asked me? You said, honestly, do you think Urban Meyer will be the coach of USC? What did I tell you?
Yes.
I said, yes. It's setting up to be that way. It is setting up so perfectly that in the fall of 2022, Urban Meyer will be on the sideline for USC. And guess what? None of this shit happens when he's running the program. Okay. When he is a college coach, right? At Ohio State and Florida, the athletic director is not the boss. The athletic director answers to the football coach. Unfortunately, it's how it goes. Okay, so Urban Meyer can hide whatever the hell he wants from everybody. He just does and he answers to nobody. So he's doing whatever he wants, and the players aren't going to rebel against him. In the NFL, you have to answer to an owner. You have to answer to more media. You can't cover everything up, and your players can very easily disrespect you, not like you, and rebel against you. The NFL, and I was completely wrong on this, is not for him. He's going to go back to college, and he'll be the coach of the USC.
Why do you think all these college guys that coach at these big programs don't want to go to the NFL? Why the hell would I be Dabo Swinney and want to go coach, an NFL team? Yeah. You're making $10 million at a top college in the nation, and you have all this power and everything. Why would you want to go start fresh, start new, have the risk of getting fired? No.
It has to be your dream job.
Yeah.
Like Lincoln Riley, if he was going to go coach the Cowboys, like that's what it would have to be. Something like that. It's just an example.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. Why would they leave these jobs? Yeah. It's unbelievable.
This Giants-Dodgers game it's 1-0 right now. Brandon Crawford made a leaping catch.
Did you see that? Dude. You were talking, and I just went like, "Oh my god!" Yeah, I was watching that.
Mm-hmm.
I have you split between the Dodgers and the Giants here on the MLB TV.
Oh, look at you!
Great purchase. And you know what I just bought? New York Post Sports Plus. Get all the inside articles, the New York Post.
Very good.
It's the greatest city in the world. We got the greatest newspapers in the world.
Love our city.
I love our city. We got the greatest city in the world.
Yeah, make sure it stays that way.
Well, our sports teams aren't. Mayor de Blasio's out, though, so his curse of not having a sports championship could be gone soon.
I sure hope so.
Yeah. Who's going to end it first? Who do we think is going to end it first?
What?
Who do you think is going to end the drought first?
What
team is going to win the next championship?
The Brooklyn Nets, I think, have the best shot right now.
I think I'm going to pick a hockey team.
But I don't even want to include the Nets. Like, the Nets aren't even embraced as this, a New York team compared to the way the other teams are.
They
are a New York team, but
I'm stating my fandom for the Brooklyn Nets.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan.
Oh, breaking news, everybody. Please check your phones. Post it everywhere. Michael Merlo is a Brooklyn Nets fan.
I'm very proud of it.
So we went Knicks. Then we went. Were you a Heat fan when LeBron was on the Heat?
No, Cavs fan. When
Cavs fan. Then Lakers. Didn't you have like a quick stint with like the Grizzlies or something, or the Pelicans or something?
The Pelicans, yeah.
Pelicans, right? Big Pelicans guy.
And the Hornets. I like the Hornets too.
Right, the Hornets. Then you were back on the Nets this year.
Yeah.
And now your Nets for good. Good. Oh, and then didn't you make a quick run at the Knicks for like a week?
Yeah, I was big with the Knicks last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Back
so
with
next
the Nets,
time, next time you want to provide an opinion on your favorite basketball team, just don't even say anything, please.
I'll be in my Brooklyn Nets gear, and
no, it's not worth the time.
Yeah. All right. This is yeah, I gotta wake up in 6 hours for school. Whoop-de freaking do.
For you.
And I get to work with your brother tomorrow. I'm very excited.
I get to get my new my laptop back tomorrow, so hopefully
not your new laptop.
No,
your
not
old
my new laptop. My new and improved laptop. It's got the new camera now. And hopefully my picture quality is a little better next time.
Hey, you look good there.
Thanks.
All right, we will talk to you guys next week.